All right, geometry, chapter 5, section 4, equilateral and isosceles triangles. What's the rule, or what are the properties of an equilateral triangle? Okay, all three sides are congruent. All right, so for equilateral, okay, all three sides are congruent. I'll just use the congruent sign just to save a little bit of time. And then for isosceles, what's the rule for isosceles? Not two, at least two, okay?
So an equilateral could be also an isosceles?
An equilateral is an isosceles triangle. Yep, no could be, it actually is. So, but you always want to use the most inclusive number to or most inclusive property to classify a triangle. So you will never say an equilateral triangle is isosceles because equilateral is more specific. Okay, so because an isosceles triangle, or let's go with the equilateral first. Because an equilateral triangle, let's go with this one. Because all three sides are congruent, what is also true? All three angles are congruent, right?
Yes.
Which means every angle on an equilateral triangle is how many degrees? 60. So each angle is 60 degrees. Again, that just works for equilateral triangles. On an isosceles triangle, if AB is congruent to CB, then which of the two angles are also congruent? Because again, if an isosceles triangle has two congruent sides, it also has at least two congruent angles. So which one? Make sure you label them correctly. A and C. So in this case, angle A and angle C are also congruent.
Teachers, pardon the interruption.
Okay, so we have triangle KMN, and KMN is cut into two separate triangles. Okay, this should be an L right here, sorry. So KMN is separated into two different triangles, KLN and LNM. What kind of triangle is KLN? What kind of triangle is triangle KLN? It's equilateral, right? Because all of the angles are the same, which means every side is equal to what? 4. Okay, so I could erase this if I wanted to, and that's now 4. So y equals 4. And this side is 4 as well. So in this problem, we're going to solve for y and x. So y is already done. I'll put it over here. Okay, now, what kind of triangle is LNM? It's isosceles. And if the two base angles down there, LNM and LMN, are congruent, what does that tell you about sides LN and LM? They're congruent. They are the same. So to solve for x, this is going to be tough. X plus 1 equals 4. Going to have to recall back to our mad algebra skills, okay? And we're going to have to subtract 1 from both sides. Uh-oh. And x is going to equal 3. Okay? So, under 5 minutes, Chapter 5, Section 4, Equilateral and Isosceles Triangles.